What if I told you that the problem isn't that you're not drinking enough water, but that you're drinking it the wrong way? Men over 50 are doing what they've been told for decades. Drink more water, stay hydrated, flush your system, and yes, hydration matters. But here's the question no one is asking. Is plain water actually helping your circulation the way it used to? As we age, the body changes. Blood vessels become less flexible. Nitric oxide, the molecule that tells your arteries to relax and open, naturally declines. And when nitric oxide drops, circulation drops with it. Less blood flow means colder hands and feet, lower energy, slower recovery, and yes, weaker performance where it matters most. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Plain water hydrates you, but it doesn't signal your blood vessels to open. It doesn't support nitric oxide on its own. In fact, drinking large amounts of demineralized water can dilute electrolytes your nerves and muscles depend on. Think of your bloodstream like a highway system. Water is the traffic. Nitric oxide is what opens the lanes. Without enough nitric oxide, traffic slows, no matter how much water you pour in. So what should you add? First, minerals. A small pinch of natural sea salt or mineral salt in your water can improve fluid absorption and support nerve and vessel function. Your body evolved drinking mineral-rich water, not distilled liquid stripped of everything. Second, nitrates from natural sources. A squeeze of lemon, a splash of beet juice, or even pairing your water with leafy greens helps your body produce nitric oxide. This isn't hype. This is basic physiology. Your body converts dietary nitrates into nitric oxide, improving blood flow from the inside out. There's a reason books like Eat to Beat Disease and How Not to Die emphasize plants for vascular health. They're not magic. They're signals that tell your arteries to relax. Third, timing matters. Drinking water ice cold all day long can actually constrict blood vessels temporarily. Room temperature or slightly cool water is easier on circulation, especially in the morning. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about stopping water. It's about upgrading it. Men over 50 don't need extremes. They need smarter basics, better signals, better flow. And while we're here, let's talk about what quietly destroys nitric oxide. Sitting too long, poor sleep, chronic stress, mouthwash used excessively, which kills the bacteria in your mouth that help convert nitrates into nitric oxide. Yes, even that matters. Circulation isn't about one supplement or one trick. It's about daily inputs, what you drink, what you eat, how you move, how you breathe. When nitric oxide improves, men often notice warmer extremities, better endurance, clearer thinking, and stronger confidence. Not because of hype, but because blood is finally reaching the tissues that need it. So the next time you reach for a glass of water, ask yourself a better question. Is this just filling my stomach, or is it supporting my circulation? Because aging doesn't mean shrinking blood flow. It means being intentional. Small changes, repeated daily, send powerful messages to the body. And when your blood vessels get the message, they respond. Flow is life, and you can support it, starting with something as simple as what you add to your water. As men move past 50, the body no longer responds to hydration the way it once did. And this is where plain water quietly falls short. Years ago, drinking a few glasses could instantly boost energy and focus because blood vessels were flexible, responsive, and rich in nitric oxide. But aging changes the inner lining of the arteries. They become stiffer, less responsive, and slower to react to signals that tell them to open. Plain water can replace fluid, but it doesn't give your blood vessels a reason to relax or widen. It's like pouring fuel into an engine that has clogged fuel lines. The fuel is there, but it's not reaching where it needs to go efficiently. On top of that, many modern water sources are stripped of minerals, and over time this can dilute key electrolytes that help control muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and vascular tone. Without those minerals, water may pass through you quickly instead of being absorbed effectively into the cells and bloodstream. This is why some men drink more and more water, yet still feel fatigued, lightheaded, or cold in their hands and feet. The issue isn't dehydration alone, it's circulation. Aging arteries need signals, not just volume. They need support to maintain blood flow, elasticity, and pressure balance. Plain water keeps you alive, But after 50, it often isn't enough to keep your circulation working at its best unless it's paired with the right nutrients and habits that help blood vessels do what they were designed to do. Nitric oxide is one of the most important molecules in the male body after 50, yet almost no one talks about it in simple terms. Think of nitric oxide as a messenger. When it's released, it tells your blood vessels to relax, widen, and allow more blood to pass through. That one signal affects everything from heart health to brain clarity to physical performance. In younger years, the body produces nitric oxide easily, almost effortlessly. But with age, that production slows down. Enzymes become less active, blood vessel walls become less responsive, and lifestyle stress chips away at the system. When nitric oxide drops, circulation doesn't just weaken, it becomes inefficient. Blood still moves, but it moves with resistance. This is when men notice symptoms they often ignore: slower warm-up during exercise, reduced stamina, weaker pumps, slower healing, and a general sense that the body just doesn't respond the way it used to. Nitric oxide is also deeply connected to oxygen delivery. Without enough of it, muscles and organs don't get the oxygen and nutrients they need, even if your heart is working hard. That's why boosting nitric oxide isn't about stimulation or shortcuts. It's about restoring communication inside the body. Books like Younger Next Year emphasize that aging well depends on keeping systems responsive, not just alive. When nitric oxide signaling improves, blood flow becomes smoother, pressure becomes more balanced, and the body starts acting younger. Not because time reversed, but because circulation was finally supported the way it needs to be after 50. Supporting nitric oxide doesn't require complicated routines or expensive supplements. In fact, some of the most effective support comes from simple, natural additions that work with your body instead of forcing it. When you add the right elements to your water, you turn hydration into a signal, not just a habit. One of the most powerful additions is natural dietary nitrates, found in foods like beets, leafy greens, and citrus. These compounds are converted by the body into nitric oxide through a process that begins in the mouth and finishes in the blood vessels. This is why something as simple as adding a squeeze of fresh lemon to your water can make a difference over time. It doesn't just improve taste, it supports the chemical pathway that helps arteries relax and blood flow improve. Minerals matter just as much, a small pink H of natural sea salt or mineral-rich salt adds trace elements like magnesium and potassium that help blood vessels contract and relax properly. These minerals support electrical signals in the body, allowing muscles, including the smooth muscles in your arteries, to respond more efficiently. Without them, hydration can become superficial, passing through the body instead of being absorbed where it's needed. This is especially important after 50, when mineral absorption naturally declines. Even pairing water with nitrate-rich foods can amplify the effect. Drinking water alongside a meal that includes spinach, arugula, or beets helps the body use that water more effectively for circulation. It's not about flooding the system, it's about coordination. Your body thrives on teamwork between nutrients, fluids, and timing. What's important to understand is that these additions don't act like stimulants. They don't spike or crash. They work quietly, steadily, and naturally, supporting the pathways your body already uses to regulate blood flow. Over days and weeks, men often notice that they feel warmer, more energized, and more responsive, not because they forced anything, but because they removed friction from the system. When water becomes a delivery system instead of just a filler, circulation starts to feel smoother, easier, and more reliable. Exactly what the body needs as it ages. One of the biggest threats to circulation after 50 isn't something dramatic or obvious. It's the quiet, everyday habits that slowly shut blood flow down. Sitting for long hours is one of the most damaging. When you sit too much, especially without breaks, blood pools in the lower body, muscles stop assisting circulation, and nitric oxide production drops because blood vessels aren't being challenged to respond. Over time, arteries get used to being inactive, and they lose their flexibility. The body adapts downward. What you don't use, you slowly lose. Poor sleep, is another silent disruptor. During deep sleep, the body repairs blood vessels and restores nitric oxide signaling. When sleep is short or fragmented, stress hormones stay elevated, and those hormones tighten blood vessels instead of relaxing them. Night after night, this creates a state where circulation never fully resets. Men often blame aging for low energy or brain fog, when in reality their blood flow never got a chance to recover. Chronic stress plays a similar role. Stress keeps the body in a constant fight-or-flight mode, where blood is redirected away from long-term health and towards short-term survival. In that state, nitric oxide production is suppressed, and blood vessels stay slightly constricted all day. Even hydration and good food struggle to help if stress is constantly telling the body to tighten up. Then there's something most men never suspect: excessive use of antibacterial mouthwash. The mouth contains beneficial bacteria that help convert dietary nitrates into nitric oxide. When those bacteria are wiped out daily, that conversion process is weakened. You can eat the right foods and still miss the benefit because the signal never gets completed. It's a small detail, but after 50, small details matter more than ever. Add to this shallow breathing, lack of regular movement, and diets heavy in processed foods, and you have a perfect storm that slowly dulls circulation without any warning signs. None of these habits destroy health overnight. They work gradually, which is why they're so dangerous. But the encouraging part is this: habits that weaken circulation can be replaced with habits that restore it. The body is responsive even later in life. Once you remove these daily roadblocks, blood flow doesn't just improve, it remembers how to work the way it was always meant to. The most powerful changes to circulation after 50 are rarely dramatic. They're small, almost boring adjustments that compound quietly over time. This is where many men get it wrong. They look for a breakthrough, a pill, a sudden fix, and when they don't find it, they assume decline is inevitable. But the body doesn't work in leaps, it works in patterns. When you make small improvements consistently, the body responds with surprising speed. Something as simple as improving hydration quality, not just quantity, begins to shift how blood moves through the body within days. Adding minerals, supporting nitric oxide, and avoiding habits that restrict blood flow sends a repeated message to your blood vessels. Stay open, stay flexible, stay responsive. Over weeks, this improves pressure balance. Over months, it improves confidence in movement, endurance, and daily energy. And over years, it changes how aging feels. Daily walking is another example. 10 to 20 minutes of regular movement stimulates nitric oxide production naturally. It gently stretches blood vessels, encourages elasticity, and trains circulation to work efficiently again. No gym required, just consistency. Pair that with deeper breathing, slow, intentional breaths, and oxygen delivery improves even further. Blood flow isn't just about the heart, it's a boo. How well oxygen and nutrients are carried to every cell. Even small changes in timing matter. Drinking water earlier in the day, moving shortly after meals, getting sunlight in the morning to support circadian rhythm, all of these improve circulation indirectly by aligning hormones and nervous system signals. When the body feels safe and regulated, blood vessels relax. When it feels rushed and stressed, they tighten. Books like Atomic Habits remind us that identity changes follow behavior changes, not the other way around. When men start acting like someone who protects their circulation, hydrating smarter, moving daily, managing stress, the body follows that identity. Strength doesn't vanish with age. It responds to signals. What's remarkable is how quickly men notice feedback when circulation improves. Hands feel warmer, legs feel lighter, recovery feels faster, mental clarity improves. These aren't placebo effects, they're signs that blood is finally reaching tissues efficiently. Again, aging doesn't require surrender, it requires adjustment. And when those adjustments are small, realistic, and repeated daily, they don't feel like effort, they feel like control. Over time, those small choices don't just improve circulation, they rebuild trust between you and your body.